This Arcane is explained in a previous video of mine, though if you require some too long didn't watch, here's some. What you need to keep in mind is 1. Raw triple dips the DOTs that came from the Arcane. Elementals for DOTs are important as they are accounted normally. Combined elemental buffs from sources like Smite Infusion does not increase the DOT damage of heat and electric, as it is treated like a radiation mod, not heat nor electricity mod. And that's pretty much it. Before the actual showcase though, first, Rhino only, because he is amnestic. Second, expect to see Ravens being slaughtered, but don't worry, I will show good alternatives for those who didn't have one. Third, the build for Rhino, pets, and the choice of focus goal will always be the same throughout this entire video. Do please keep that in mind. So, what constitutes an honorable choice? All the choices here are amazing, but there is something that is holding them back. It's either that they had a better arcane picks, or they are mission specific. Yes, we are using Efv-5 Jupiter's alternative mode today, due to it able to just force proc corrosive on every shot, making it an amazing weapon for Debilitate. The way this plays out practically only allows it to shine in one singular game mode that is none other than Disruption. In order to get the full value out of it, you also had to be really close to your target, but when you do, it is really capable in annihilating a singular target. Bubonico is also an amazing pick, especially when you are going with its alternative fire. The synergy is great due to its absolutely phenomenal base data chance of 57%, but what's holding it back is actually the recharge rate itself, holding its DPS consistency back by a little. Next on the list is Exergis. The weapon itself is amazing, and although Debilitate is great on it, choices like Shotgun Vendetta or Primary Crux just provide so much more for Exergis with either upfront damage or make Exergis handling that much better, or both. You can still try it out, you know, nobody is stopping you on that. Just like Exergis, this also applies to Quanta Vandal. Primary Crux and modding for pure elect is like, just look at it yourself. And then there's Paris Prime Incarnon, my favorite weapon of all time. It's quite hard to get that Debilitate value out before you delete them in swift succession, despite the fact that it has some crazy base status chance to work with, as it is already a weapon that excels in one-tapping enemies. Classic suffering from success moment. And yeah, that's all for the honorable mentions. Here are the 15 weapons that I really recommend trying out with Primary Debilitate on Rhino. This is Family Mart. Wait, not that Japan-based convenience store, Family Mart. Phenmor is an Incarnon rifle purchasable from Cavallero, and it shoots really fast with amazing base damage. Now you may ask, why gas damage and most importantly a crit focus build? You see, I took the plus 50% headshot damage instead of 20 times damage or non-crit for half the time. It's a very solid pick for Debilitate, and I would recommend you giving this a try. You could try modding for either corrosive if gas isn't your cup of tea, or viral if you are up against corpus units. Speaking of Incarnon rifles, Braton Incarnon is a good choice for such as well due to its pretty good status chance of 44% when Survivor's Edge as the 4th evolution is picked. The weapon also welcomes more status effect for CO due to its AoE capable of benefiting from it but not multi-shot, a common perk for all hitscan weapons that has a radial attack, and its CO effectiveness for an Incarnon weapon is really high too. Like Braton, Boltor Incarnon is also a good pick for its high base status per multi-shot too, but this time I mod for corrosive instead due to no any other innate element. I had to say though, the results are really great too. Same Survivor's Edge 4th evolution, and yeah, that's pretty much for all the Incarnon rifles. Though if you had any other ideas, feel free to try out yourself as the suggestions here are merely personal preferences. Wait, I didn't say I'm done with all rifles yet. I still got 3 more in me. First off, this newly introduced Prime weapon right here. Not only it boasts an incredible 40% base status chance, making it a prime target for any sort of status builds, the Debilitate can also help supplement unique status effect to make use of its multi-CO nature. You can go something like this where you mod for both corrosive and magnetic capacity to make the handling better, and it does wonders. Especially the fact that it has infinite body punch through, you can move through a line of enemies very easily, which is complemented further by its 1 meter thick projectile. You can try this yourself if you like, or if you don't. I'm not to judge here. Speaking of new primes, this heavy Boltor Prime Trumna Prime is quite new as one too, you know, just a bit over a year at this point, but that's not what we should focus on. Trumna Prime boasts an amazing base status of 34% while being a hitscan weapon that has an AoE attached. This is the build for it, nothing out of the ordinary. It does have a very insane alternative mode though. Okay, enough with the Trumna. Let's actually talk about something that is relatively new, you know, a certain Nightwave augment. New augment for Basmu, and many can definitely tell that this is highly beneficial for Basmu. Not only Basmu is a multi-CO weapon, the huge status chance increase makes the Debilitate an amazing choice, allowing it to self-prime a lot more unique status effect due to it. To make full use of the augment on every frame, all you really need is Arcane Blessing and that's it. I know, the ribbon I had here is a bit diabolical, but in reality, you don't really need this. You can choose to mod for a singular quick chance mod like Point Strike and it will still perform quite well despite not having a very insane ribbon. Especially when this is around the period where Basmu Blueprint is available for just a bit of event currency, I highly recommend giving this a try. Shedu is pretty good with the Debilitate actually. While the status chance is not that enticing, but what makes it a good choice is that the AoE of it allows pure corrosive, and you can proc it in such high efficiency that it just becomes really compatible. The ribbon I had here is just a glorified Vital Sense. Feel free to replace it with one if you don't have the ribbon. You could even go with a direct damage focus build by modding Galvanized Aptitude due to it being a multi-CO weapon. Just change the build for a little to accommodate for that, and bam! Immediately a very capable single target weapon. In my opinion, Shedu as a weapon is quite versatile. Not only its recharge period is almost non-existent, it is simultaneously a good crowd clearing weapon while still boasts incredible single target DPS. On its own, it's a very unique primary weapon, just like the next one on this list, Scourge Prime. Scourge is typically picked for its alternative fire where it helps headshots, but today, we are using it for DPS. What is often overlooked by many is surprisingly very capable. Not only Scourge Prime has a base status chance of 30% that has an AoE attached, innate corrosive with a high base damage, it is also a multi-CO weapon. Yes, another multi-CO weapon like Set Perk isn't rare at all. You can mod for viral on top of it to basically ensure no armor units can even survive such combination of elements. And it does boast incredible one-tapping potential despite not as enticing on paper. On the left, we got Tenet Glaxion. It is no surprise that Tenet Glaxion is an amazing choice with it. Not only you get more value out of CO due to more unique status effect, the care for elemental weighting is also lesser. It is a very competitive alternative to primary Crux, and good for times you just want to aim at an enemy and not worrying about losing the stack on Crux. The build does change a little to accommodate for that though, do please keep this in mind. Next one on the list is Phantasma Prime, a precision beam shotgun that has infinite body punch through. Due to innate radiation, this makes it a prime candidate for synergy like this. You can mod in a way that it heavily favors electricity, like prime charged shell with toxin barrage to make corrosive, due to electricity is the most likely to be procced, as seen here. Like Tenet Glaxion, Crux is also a very good choice on this weapon due to the massively improved handling and massive status chance, while Debilitate is just as competitive with its insane CO value and additional status that just isn't normally accessible. Since we talk about shotguns, how can we not talk about the iconic shotgun that is Kuva Sobek? I know, most of you use Sobek like this. Yes, Rhino can do it quite comfortably as well, but what we are focusing on today though, is this augment right here. Kuva Sobek already possesses a very healthy status chance on top of good per pellet damage. The augment only pushes it further, and this is the build for it. You can hit near 100% status chance on every bullet with multi-shot into the 20s, hitting that debilitate value like your father just returned with prime milk. Jokes aside, this weapon is quite phenomenal with debilitate. I highly recommend you giving this a go, and believe me, you won't regret it. Although I must say, maintaining click delegation is a bit annoying at times. With 18 weapons done, let's talk about the remaining two. The first being Komorex, or Rhino's Rex Sniper. The weapon itself is amazing for a few things. On max zoom, it has an additional 3.5 meter innate viral AoE, inbuilt 100% ammo mutation on top of a great base status chance of 35%. By modding corrosive, you now have access to both viral and corrosive. And I know what you might want to ask. Why rank 2 semi-rifle cannonade? Remember, Komorex max zoom has a -75% fire rate. This counters it, but by doing so, it also messes up the AoE due to it only appears on the last penetrated target. By keeping it rank 2, we get all the benefits aka initial damage and huge damage increase for the AoE, punch through for walls, and nullifies the staggering -95% fire rate that Komorex with critical delay had. I also opt for Arcane momentum on Rhino as it gives 150% reload speed on crit for snipers, a huge KOL boost for weapons like Komorex. Overall, this is automatically an amazing choice. How about Coda Sporothrix? And yeah, it is really strong, who could have thought? Like Komorex, it also has viral on its AoE, absolutely phenomenal base damage and an unbelievable status chance of 55%. On top of that, do please remember to slot in the weapon augment volatile variant for even better effects. The setup is similar to Komorex, same arcane momentum on Rhino, but the build is slightly adjusted to accommodate for its low crit, high status nature. Other than that, I could only say that this weapon is a must try with the Arcane. Put this on your mag or something, mod for Bay mod instead of magnetic capacity to take advantage of the triple dip. Well, that's all for the 20 weapons that I want to cover today. These are just the choices that I found interesting and generally the best on Rhino. If you have anything that you think is also an amazing choice, feel free to let me know. That's all for today. See you all next time. Goodbye.